Hello, everyone. Welcome to a mischievous feeling matchbook horse racing podcast. I don't know why, but that's the tone we've set before we came on air. So we'll look to continue that. That we is Charlie Poste, Donn McClean, and Steve Jones. So an excellent team assembled for you. We're getting a bit international this weekend. We'll look at the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe on Sunday. We'll come to that. We've got Group 1 racing on Saturday for juveniles to preview, as well as the Cambridgeshire, and 4 races on Friday to get through. So there's a lot to get stuck into. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Makes it much easier for you to watch all of our pods or listen to them, however you choose to digest them. And it really helps us too. It's probably the best no-cost way of supporting our content by liking and subscribing, if indeed you do like it. Wouldn't ask you to if you didn't. It's all good. Okay, we're going to get stuck straight into the previews then, if we can. We're going to start at Newmarket. All 4 we're doing are at Newmarket on Friday. We kick off with a couple of fillies races. I'm going to get prices up shortly because I don't have them ready because I'm not very professional. But there we are. Donn McClean is professional and he fancies who?
Tarawa. Yeah, I think she's I could price it now for a second, but I think she's overpriced. Like she's a filly from whom good things were expected, and like earlier on in the season, you were kind of she looked like she was just a wee bit unlucky in a few of her races. Like even in the Guineas, the Irish Guineas, when she stayed on to finish 4th behind her stable companion Tahira, she just didn't really have the run of the race that day. Then she was presented with a good opportunity in the Celebration Stakes, the listed race, the Curran Irish Derby weekend, and she just came up a half a length short. That was a bit disappointing. She couldn't get the better of Bold Discovery. Bold Discovery, we know, is a well-regarded horse. And then she was only beaten a length by Zarinsk in the Minstrel Stakes. That was about the same distance as the distance by which she was beaten in the Guineas Trial earlier in the season at Leopardstown. You can allow her a run at Cork in the Platinum Stakes. That was on really soft ground. Clever and Cool beat her well. She still kept on to finish second. And then last time in the Group 2 mile race, the Dullingham Park Stakes, it's called this year, on Irish Champions Festival, she only finished 5th, but she was well behind on a weekend on which, or at a meeting at which you really needed to be up handy. Flight Plan, the winner, Carl Burke's horse, he made all the running, and Tarawa just kind of kept on. And look, you can keep on making excuses for horses, and if she was a shorter price, you'd be happy to allow her a run. But the fact that Dermot Well is bringing her over, that's significant. She's worn a visor for her last couple of runs. She's now in cheek pieces for the first time, and she hasn't won since she won her maiden last season as a juvenile. So that's a bit disappointing. Like you would have thought at this stage of the season, as a 3-year-old, she'd have got at least another win on the board. She hasn't, but she has been highly tried. She's back down now into a listed race, and cheek pieces on, going over there. Good, fast, like ground just on the fast side of good is ideal for her. She does want fast ground, so I'm just happy to give her another chance at the price.
She's 11.0. First time headgear for her. That's incorrect. First time cheek pieces for her. She says she's worn a visor before. Now, Charlie, your selection has a first time hood on. I confess that I hadn't noticed that because I hadn't looked since decks were made. I made my selection before that, and the hood done half interest me for Silver Lady, but I'll stick to my guns.
Yeah, 100%, mate. As in, it could just be the difference, you know. As in, she won on her debut in April in Newmarket, and immediately afterwards there was talk of the Coronation Stakes, etc. So you take from that she was obviously pretty well regarded. Then turned up at York in May and finished 3rd behind Sounds of Heaven, in behind Queen for You as well, who finished 2nd on that occasion. And she just was a little bit too keen. You know, she lugged a little left under pressure, but she was beat half a length, lost nothing in defeat really in my book, and only a 2nd start straight up into listed company. She's been off a long time since, and like you say, the hood is applied, which if it does just take the gas out of her early doors, I just felt that she is very, very unexposed and possibly has a little bit more upside than a few of these that we know plenty about in this field. So yeah, Silver Lady for me, and of course Charlie Appleby is absolutely flying at the moment.
She's 8.0, and mine and Steve's selection, Queen for You, is 6.0. This is absolutely ridiculous, but I have to be honest and say I'd rather back Silver Lady in a hood for the first time at 8.0. So, Steve, you can make the case for Queen for You. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick, but I always thought that the horseshoe tip was the one you fancy, not jump ship halfway through. Anyway, a hood only it works better when it's taken off rather than put on. But hey,
Well, you can't take it off unless it's been put on.
Very true. Watch out next time. Anyway, Queen for you. I'm surprised at Coppice being favourite because Coppice ran in the same race as Queen for you last time, and I know the saddle slipped on Coppice, but Coppice gets very keen for me and doesn't help herself, and that's probably why the saddle shifts around, and she'll have to be settled out the back somewhere. And for me, fast ground at Newmarket, that is not the place to be. And I think it's because of Frankie is on Coppice and Rab Havlin's on Queen for you, but no one should be surprised about that because Rab Havlin's ridden this filly every time that she's run, and she ran very well last time. She was just kind of outspeeded by Heredia in the closing stages last time, and I think Heredia is a really good horse when she gets everything fall in her favour, which she did in the Atalanta Stakes last time at Sandown. And I think Queen for you just kind of keep going on the front end. She ran in the Coronation Stakes on just a third start. She'd won first time, then touched off at the Dante meeting at York in a listed race, and then went straight to the Coronation Stakes. She wasn't up to that, but she's a filly that's got a lot of potential, in my opinion. She's one of those, because she only made her debut in May, I think she's going to keep on improving, and fast ground seems ideal. So, Queen for you.
There you go. Moving on to the Princess Royal Abbas Well, Dubai Stakes. Group 3 over a mile and a half is the 225. Running Lion is 4.5. Novakai is 5.5, who was well supported last time. Actually, then she just eased out a bit. She was 7.0. She was 21.0 into 7.0, went off 11.0. Sweet Memories is 6.5. Sea Theme is 7.5. Time Lock is 9.0. Bigger Price is the rest. Right. Charlie, you can have the first punch with Running Lion, and then the three of us will come out with some knockout blows. So over to you first.
Yeah, I thought this was a trappy race, if I'm being honest. Quite a lot of unexposed fillies taking on a few others, and I went to and fro over it. And again, I can definitely see the reasoning behind Novakai, and I'm looking forward to you three wise men telling me why I'm wrong. But I just plumbed for Running Lion in the end. You know, she was very good in the Pretty Polly earlier on in the year. Obviously, withdrawn before the Oaks, and then bombed out at Chantilly in the French Oaks. But there were reasons behind that defeat and that bad run. She came back at Salisbury in August and was just not just denied. She was beat pretty comprehensively by State of Occasion. But John Gosden afterwards made noises that he felt there was a heap of improvement in her, and that he hadn't trained her overly hard for this comeback after having a couple of horrible experiences at Epsom and in France. So I'm just looking for that improvement from her, and for her to get back to that form of that Pretty Polly win, which was pretty comprehensive from Sumo Sam, who, as we know, at Doncaster especially, has done plenty for the form since. So Running Lion, but it wouldn't be one of my most confident selections.
All right, then. Team Steam with Novakai, the three wise men. I'll give you gold. Don talks frankincense, and Steve's just meh. Don, first of all.
Yeah, look, it's. I think she's a. I thought she would have been a wee bit shorter. I can see her going off favourite maybe. Like, she's just such a classy juvenile last season. She finished second in the Fillies Mile. She couldn't match Soul Sister in the Musadora, but then Carberg thought enough of her to bring her over to the French Oaks, the Prix d'Anne, and she was pretty well beaten there. But she came back at Newmarket then in a listed race, and she was seriously impressive. And that was on good ground. It was not the July course, not the Rowley Mile, but she won. She couldn't have been any more impressive than she was in winning. And then last time in the Yorkshire Oaks, she ran better than her finishing position suggests. She got pretty badly squeezed out. Now, she maybe got a wee bit outpaced whenever they quickened, and that's obviously a concern. It wasn't that she just ran into trouble. She was kind of the maker of her own misfortune. I thought Blue Stack came up on her outside, and she was quickening up more readily than Novakai was. She got squeezed out, but then she ran on, like William Buick more or less accepted it, and she just ran on just under a hands and heels ride. She finished like a filly who had lots of energy left. I think Newmarket suits it better, and the fact she's got form on the Rolling Mile in the Fillies Mile, that's obviously a positive, as well as on the July course. And Carlberg's horses continue to be in tremendous form. I just think she's got plenty in her favour.
Yeah, mine was more of I'd rather have Novakai and Sweet Memories, actually, who I've been pretty impressed with. I'm not sure she wants quick ground running for me than running Lion, who I was against personally. I'm very happy to take her on at this distance anyway. I'm not convinced it's going to suit her, and I thought she was pretty well held last time in listed company. So this is a step up in grade. She's still atop the market, so I'm happy to take her on. With Novakai and Sweet Memories, but Novakai the main one. Steve?
Yeah, Novakai, she's always... I have to say, that wasn't... if that was rehearsed about the Three Wise Men, then I wasn't party to it. It could have been. I'm starting to get...
What do you mean it could have been?
Well, you're not sharp enough to come up with something like that off the top of your head. That's why I'm worried.
Dan Hussey told us to do that. We had a private WhatsApp group.
Nothing would surprise me.
Not true. Carry on, Steve.
Anyway, well done, Tommy. You've cracked a gag that made me laugh for the first time in a long time. Novakai it's always had plenty of class. Was runner-up in the Fillies Mile last year, having run well in other group races, and then was first time up second in the Musidora to Soul Sister, who obviously went on to win the Oaks. So her form stacks up to that point. Over in France, it didn't really pan out for her in the French Oaks, but she absolutely bolted up in listed race at Newmarket. That was on the July course, but they are quite similar. They're next to each other, aren't they? So the terrain is very similar between the July course and the Rowley Mile that they race on this weekend. And so I always think that that's a good thing to have. And she ran well in the Fillies Mile at Newmarket last year, so she likes the track. And then last time at York in the Yorkshire Oaks, she just got shuffled back at the wrong time, and they were kind of the horses in front of her were gone. But that was Warm Heart who won it, who looks a proper Group 1 filly, and Free Wind who's in the Arc. So it was as you expect for Yorkshire Oaks at Group 1. It was a hot race, and this isn't as good. So I expect her to get back to her best, and that I think will be good enough.
Sports Elephant is along, who says Novakai top 2. Good luck with Novakai. We move on to the Albastia Quad Dubai Rockfell Stakes over 7 furlongs. Shawari is atop the betting, 2 from 2 so far and 3.0. Ylang, what on earth happened last time, is 4.5. 5.5 for Carla's Way. Spiritual is 7.5. Bigger prices the rest. I was going to be the filly at the top of the betting, Shawari, but I've had to chicken out with a no bet because this, I don't know, Ylang just it was too bad to be true last time. On the Vespertilio defeat last time, he finished second in that race. Like that was just a line through jobby. So I don't know. Would it surprise me if she went and won and beat Shawawi? Not really. I mean, Aidan O'Brien's more likely to win a Rockfell than Ollie Sangster, right? I don't know. Yeah, I'm confused. So help, Steve.
I prefer, I must say, the filly that's unbeaten in 2 starts. I think Ollie Sangster is a good trainer. He's obviously had a very good first season, and he clearly knows what he's doing. And she won really nicely on debut on fast ground when she showed plenty of gear. She went through that race very easily after missing the break. And then next time on softer ground, again, she travelled well. So I don't think the ground is any problem to her, and she just went through that race like a quality filly. And when you consider Fallen Angel, who finished half a length second, has come out and won a Group 3 and then went over to Ireland to win the Moyglare Stud, the Group 1. The form is just electric, and that was the Star Stakes at Sandown, and that was a race that Inspiral won a few years ago. So it has a pedigree for having horses that go on to be very good, and I think that's what Shawari is.
Charlie?
And she beat a subsequent Group 1 winner last time. She's versatile as regards the ground, and I'd have thought if she was trained by someone more established, she'd be shorter than 3.0. I completely get what you're saying about Ylang, but you'd have to say that for her to be running back 3 weeks later, that is there just a chance that they couldn't flag up anything was wrong? I don't know. I mean, it just seems if there was something wrong, it's a quick turnaround to be able to bring her back 3 weeks later. So maybe there is no reason and they're just going to roll the dice again. Could she win? 100% she could. But yeah, I think Shawari is very talented. And like I say, if she was trained by someone more established, I think she'd be a good bit shorter than she is at 3.0 right now.
And Donn.
Yeah, I was between Ylang Ylang and Carla's Way, and just like on Ylang Ylang, she was, as you said, Tom, she was so good at beating Vespertilio. Then Vespertilio, that was the silver flash at Leopardstown. Vespertilio came out then and won that's a Group 3. She won the debutante stakes, Vespertilio did, and then ran such a big race in the Moidler behind Fallen Angel. And Ylang Ylang, yes, it was just too bad to be true. 19 days later, I suppose the fact that they're going again and allowing her to take her chance here, that's significant. But I just thought at a bigger price, Carla's Way was more interesting. I thought her run the last day at Goodwood was a really good run, the Prestige Stakes. She quickened up from the front and looked a likely winner. She was ultimately run down by Darnation, but she kept on to finish second. Darnation since came out and won the Mayhill at Doncaster, so that form has been upheld. That was her first run back in a while, over 60 days, and it was her first run back since the wind operation, so you can legitimately expect her to improve from that. She should improve as well for better ground. She won her maiden at Doncaster on better ground, and I like her forward going style of racing. I like at Newmarket you usually don't want to be too far off the pace. Now that's Ylang Ylang as well. Her 2 wins, she made all the running in both, and she was forward going as well in the Moidler. So I can see her bouncing back and running a big race, but I just thought at a bigger price, Carla's Way offered better value.
Yep, fair enough. And on Shawari there, well, she was up with it last time, but has been slowly away for those 2 starts so far. We're over a mile next to the Al-Bastiak World Dubai Joel Stakes. Chindit is 4.5, as is Mutasabek, 5.0 for Maljun, Mighty Ulysses, 6.0, bigger prices thereafter. Don, I'll come straight back to you if I can. Mighty Ulysses.
Yeah, I quite like Mighty Ulysses here, Tom. I just think he's a progressive horse. He's only run twice this year. He made his debut at Ascot in the Summer Mile, and he was pretty well beaten. But his form last season is very good. Like he won the listed Sir Henry Cecil Stakes at Newmarket in early July, beating Alflela. And Alflela, I mean, I know he's improved since then, but that was a massive run to beat him. And then last time at Salisbury in the Group 3 race, the Sovereign Stakes, I thought he did well. He went forward. He was caught by Umbesto, and Regal Reality was back in third. Regal Reality reopposes, and like I think he's an older horse with a chance. Regal Reality, he's a frequently underrated horse. He stayed on to finish third behind Mighty Ulysses that day, and he's enhanced the form since as well, Regal Reality, and he's a player in this race. But I think there's a good chance Mighty Ulysses can come forward again. He goes well at Newmarket. He's run, I think, once on the July course and once on the Rolling Mile course, and he's won both times. So he does like Newmarket, and he comes into the race a relatively fresh horse as well, having run just twice this season. There's every chance he'll come on again for the Salisbury run. And yeah, again, a forward-going horse who should be well suited, or we know who is well suited by Newmarket.
Yeah, I wish he wasn't in the race because I think it means Mutasabek could get an easy. I still think Mutasabek could go forward. I think he should be clear favourite, and therefore I want to side with him over Chindit, who I don't think is ideally suited to the track. So Mutasabek for me, Steve.
I originally thought Mutasabek, and then I just looked at the race again, and Mutasabek's got to give £3 away. And I get what you're saying about the track, but it's hardly ever been to Newmarket, or not for a good while anyway. And when it was last in Newmarket, it was over 7 furlongs, and before that was 5th in the Guineas, so you can hardly take that. I just thought that the horse with recent form and good form was Chindit, and the 2 of the 3 defeats this season from 6 starts came in Group 1 races, when runner-up in one of them in the lock-ins. So I thought it was a case of which is the best horse and which is the horse in form, and that's Chindit. So I'm surprised that Chindit is as big as he is. He's 4.5 or something.
Yeah, joint favourites.
For, like I say, for the horse who's in form on the back of 2 wins and is looking like the best horse in the race, it's a no-brainer for me.
And Charlie?
I also looked at Muda Sarbet for quite a long time with that track form, and I could easily see him being the one. But I'm going to chance Maljoom. He should have won a Group 1. I think everyone could agree watching. He was very unlucky in the St James Palace last year when we last saw him. He's only had a few starts, but I think 4 starts in his life, and he's a high quality horse. He won a German Guineas as well, and William Haggis, I'd be sure. Well, look, maybe they're looking to more targets further on in the autumn, but he could just potentially still be very, very good, this horse, and he definitely still, in theory, has more progression within him, which is more than could be said for plenty of these that we know exactly what they are. So Maljoom for me.
All right, we move on from that to any other bets on Friday, and it's just you, Charlie Poste, at Worcester.
Yeah, Worcester 325. A horse called Beachcomber. He won a bumper around Chepstow impressively last year. Bombed out a bit in the champion bumper at Cheltenham, but the ground would have been way too soft for him. I get the impression he's a horse that's well regarded by the John Joe O'Neill team, and the nice ground that they should hopefully have there at Worcester will suit him well. He's a real good moving horse, so he's one to keep an eye on throughout the season, and hopefully he can go in tomorrow, but before moving on to better things.
All right, that's Friday done and dusted. We move on to Saturday. Don't forget, talking about bumper horses, etc. We're going to have next week a jump season preview for you and horses to follow section. So keep an eye out for that. It's not confirmed as and when it is, but keep an eye on our social media channels and we'll let you know exactly when it is. They were well received last year and plenty of future winners were put up on them. 150 at Newmarket then is the Royal Lodge, and Capulet heads the betting at 3.0 currently. 6.0 for Ablan, 6.5 Ghost Writer, 7.5 Al Musmak, bigger prices thereafter. Haven't looked at who people fancy in here. Interesting. So couple for Ablan, couple for Capulet. Don, you can kick you and I off with Ablan, who I was pretty impressed with last time in a race. Charlie Appley's got a good record with nice horses.
Yeah, I guess I was in a similar situation here to Ylang and Carla's Way with Capulet and Ablan. Capulet, look, his run the last day in the KPMG Champions Juvenile Stakes at Leopardstown was a really good run. He matched strides with Diego Velasquez for a long way, and the pair of them pulled nicely clear of Atlantic Coast and Deep One, who went and enhanced the form as well since. So you can see why he's favourite. But I thought Ablan did very well to win at Sandown the last day, the Solario Stakes. They didn't go great pace. I think the finishing speed was 107% or thereabouts, and that wouldn't have suited him. He battled on really well. He beat Inish Fallon by a neck. Inish Fallon didn't run badly there for a long way in the Tavis of Somerville Stakes earlier on today. But Ablan, he should improve for a greater test of stamina. He should improve as well for stepping up in trip. He's bred for it, and yeah, I just think with his attitude, like he went and won the last day. He showed a lot of grit, and I think he can come forward from that, and he should be better suited by a better run race and a slightly longer trip.
And Charlie and Steve with Capulet. Charlie, first of all.
Horse of Aidan O'Brien's definitely for me. I mean, he won impressively at Dundalk on his debut, and then, as Don has already said, he was second behind Diego Velasquez the last day at Leopardstown. I just love the way he bowled along in front, and even when Diego Velasquez got to him, I thought he kept on seriously well and galloped through the line very, very strong. Ablan, I kept watching the Sandown race back, and I couldn't work out whether I just felt that it kind of fell into his lap. Stoutie's horse came there looking like he was going to win, and then kind of didn't see it out. And I don't know, they all look like I don't know, there didn't really seem to be anything finishing off, and it looked like it kind of just ended up for him because no one else could go through with it. I really like Capulet. Like I said, I love the way he went through the race at Leopardstown, the way he kept galloping, and yeah, I'd be pretty strong on him.
And Steve.
Yeah, Capulet. I think the form of that race last time was very good. And although he didn't win it, obviously Diego Velasquez is one of the big prospects of the Aidan O'Brien team, and to run him close with the pair of them miles clear, when you consider Deep One, who won the Bereford Stakes next time, was back in fourth and was beaten 4 lengths, it kind of sums up the strength of the form, and there's more evidence to show that was a very good race. And the fact that Capulet was able to do it on his second start, I think, was even better. I don't like particularly horses going off the back of one run into a top group race like that, and he certainly floated. He's a nephew of the Derby winner Serpentine, so he's also, as you would imagine, coming from Cornwall, got the pedigree, especially for a mile as a 2-year-old. So Capulet for me.
That's us, I think, isn't it? Sports Elephant is with Al Musmak, has formed ties with Henry Longfellow. He'll do for me. Good luck. We move on to Chester, 205. This is 2 mile, 2.5 furlongs Watergate Cup. Baez is 5.0. A mean course and distance winner last year, this was, is 6.0. Tashkan, 7.0. Zealandia, 7.5. It's Good to Laugh, 9.0. Bigger prices thereafter. I'm with It's Good to Laugh, who is a course winner and who I think is priced up on the fact that he can't beat Amin. Based upon that run over shorter last time. But I thought over this distance, there's a chance that he'd come out on top because Amin was well ridden that day. There is pace on here to keep Amin company, and I think It's Good to Laugh might just get a nice little sit ever so slightly off it. Not a lot, just sort of 2 back, maybe a couple wide as well, and we'll rule out any hard luck stories. I think this trip could be exactly what he wants. He ran over it off £2 lower on slightly easier ground in the Chester Plate. But I think this ground will seem to slightly better effect. He's 9.0, so it's very much in a 9-runner field, a win and place shout. Charlie?
Zealandia for me, for Ian Williams, won on stable debut last year at York. Kind of went missing a little bit in the subsequent starts, but was really good last time at Goodwood, stepping up to a mile 6 for the first time on soft ground, which is what they're giving us Chester for Saturday, when he beat Nathaniel Green 2 1/4 lengths. And I thought he could have easily been put up more than the £4 that he's gone up. He was strong at the line that day. David Probert's booked to ride, so no negatives there. And the way he went through the race and finished off would give you confidence that this extra 4 furlongs should be right up his street as well. And he could just be a horse with a bit more upside as he goes up in trip to these sort of distances.
All right, we move on to the Cheveley Park. Donn was a no bet in that previous. Oh no, Steve, you haven't had a go, have you? But you're the same. You're the same one. Same one.
Yeah, exactly what Charlie said. Zealandia, it's got a lot of potential going up in distance 2-2, and clearly likes the soft ground, and will also get a decent pace to aim at, I should imagine, and has the gears to cope, I think, from coming from a little bit further back around Chester.
All right. Steve, Donn, I'll come to you first on the next one. This is the Cheveley Park, 225. Nobody's gone for Relief Rally except me, 3-1. We're all going for different horses here as well. Jasna's Secret is 6.0, Soprano 7.0, Porta Fortuna is 8.5. Bigger prices thereafter. Donn, first of all, who are you with?
Cherry Blossom. I'm surprised at how big she is. I thought she'd be a bit shorter than she is. And I know she got beaten in the Goss Million last time, just a week ago, actually. Well, less than a week ago now. It'll be a week ago on Saturday. But the filly that beat her, One Look, she could be something really special, what she did. And without her in the race, Paddy Toomey's filly, Cherry Blossom, would have been a good winner. She travelled like the likely winner of the front runners, as opposed to One Look, who was just, whenever you look back in behind, she was tanking for Billy Lee in behind. But she's got a rating of 101, and look, she has to reverse Lowther Stakes form with Relief Rally, but that was only her third run. She'd been impressive winning at the Curragh the time before that. Relief Rally was a lot more experienced, and actually it did look like she had the better of Relief Rally before she switched to the near side. And look, I can see why you're with Relief Rally, Tom. She showed a really good attitude and a turn of foot to get up and win the Lowther, but I just thought that Cherry Blossom maybe might benefit more for the experience. Again, the fact that Aidan O'Brien is sending her over just a week after she ran on the Goss Million to run here. She's stepping down in trip as well to 6 furlongs. I think that could be a positive for her, because the weakest part of her race the last day in the Goss Million was the final furlong, and her really good runs before that were over 6. So I think 6 furlongs will suit her well. And yeah, she's a well-bred filly. Her dam's a half sister to Red Link. So I think there's more to come from her.
All right. Got form, as you say, to reverse with Relief Rally. It's Cherry Blossom, who was second last time in the Goss Million. Steve?
Sacred Angel for me, who is, I think, about 13.0. I was a bit surprised by this because she looked really good earlier in the season when she won at the July course. So again, she's got Newmarket form. and she won really impressively in the Princess Margaret when she made all the running, but I don't think she has to. And then she was in at the deep end on much softer ground in the Prix-Morny at Deauville. And I think that's as good a Group 1 that there's been this season. She was only a couple of lengths behind River Tiber. And she ran really well that day. And that, of course, is a race against the Colts. It won by Van Dijk, who will also goes in the next race, the Middle Park. And Secret Angel more than held her own there, back on faster ground. It'll suit her. She get a prominent position, and I think she'll put it up to them.
All right, and the fourth of them is Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I think Relief Rally is rock solid, and I mean, from what William Haggis says, they think she's a 2-year-old. This is her season, and they're going to keep driving on with her. But I was looking, just bar her, I thought it was quite an open race. I mean, Soprano's third favourite. She's pretty exposed as well, and I went with one that win and place that finished in front of her last time in Juniper Berries. Again, she's been very busy for Eve Johnson-Horton, but she picked up the first go at 6 furlongs, and it seemed to really suit her the last day at Salisbury. And if you watch the race back, she did half travel incredibly well, and she picked up and got up on the line. But like I say, look for all the world like this 6 furlongs had brought about a little bit of improvement. She might lack a little bit of the out and out class of a couple of these, but at 19.0, I'm willing to chance a win and place, and without the favour, what I think looks a fairly open renewal of this.
That's the Cheveley Park. The 240 at Haydock is next up. It's the Dapper Dash for Cash handicap. Over 5 furlongs. Proverb is 4.5. Manila Scouse is 5.5. Silky Wilkie 6.5. 8.0. Wolverhampton Spoof 10.0. Bigger prices thereafter. My caveat to the selection here is that it is not soft ground. Now, it's soft currently, and there is a bit of rain knocking around. So the reason for that is, it's another team's team. I'm with Manila Scouse, who is fine with cut underfoot, but I've put on you'll see on Insights, I won't back the horse if it's soft, because I think if it's soft, that will suit Proverb just as well, and I think Proverb will probably win. I just was getting carried away with the forecast, thinking that it might dry out a good bit, but I'm now not so sure. So if we're dealing with good ground, then I'll be with Manila Scouse, who's fine on it, and I don't think Proverb will be. And I prefer Manila Scouse's run style. But if it does get in any way soft or testing, then I'd be slightly concerned. Sort of a long way around going sitting on the fence, but effectively Manila Scouse just about. Steve.
Am I missing something? The going description soft, heavy in places, and it's going to rain all Saturday morning.
Well, I've got Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
And it's dry.
You must have got 33 degrees for the next 2 days as well, then, because I don't think it's going to dry out, and I think Manila Scouse will love that. It's one at Haydock on heavy ground just back in August. So in Haydock, when it gets heavy, is pretty different to a lot of places when it gets heavy. It's proper testing ground. And it comes off the back of a really, really good run in a hot handicap at York when third to Vintage Clarets just last week. So it comes into the form of in really good form, and will handle conditions. So that's good enough for me. And Proverb was 5th in that race last week at York, when did look a little bit unlucky, but it's not as battle hardened as Manila Scouse. So backing up a week later, I would say I would always lean towards Manila Scouse in that scenario.
Don, you agree?
Yeah, I agree with all of what Steve said. Really, he's run twice at Haydock Manila Scouse, and he ran well on fast ground. He's won on heavy ground, so I wouldn't mind more rain for him. And the last day at York, he was kind of up in the van. He was towards the near side, and another runner-up came from a near side draw as well, but he came from a wee bit further back, and I thought he ran well, and then was just kind of done for second place inside the final furlong. I think back at Haydock, back on soft ground, he's just such an improved horse this season since he was gelded. He's run up a sequence there earlier in the season, so yeah, I think there's more to come from him. A £2 hike for the last day is not harsh, and yeah, I think he can go close again.
All right, that is the Sprint at Haydock done. We now move on to the Jumpmont Middle Parks over 6 furlongs. River Tiber heads the betting at 3.25 from Van Dijk at 3.5. Jassur is 10.0 as is Task Force. Get to the bigger prices if we get to them, but we won't, because once again it's Charlie against the 3 wise men. We'll go first this time, Charlie. Give you a chance. We're all with River Tiber. Don, I'll let you make the case first of all. I'm not like overly strong. I just think he wants better ground, and he missed a bit of work last time, and he's better than the rest.
Yeah, like he's got 2 lengths to find with Van Dijk, and they're running at Deauville, but Ryan said, as he said, he missed a bit of work, and it's what he did before that. Like if you can allow him that run, then it's what he did before that. Like his Coventry Stakes run was so good, and Bucanero Fuerte, who was third, he's come on and enhanced that form a couple of times since, and he's just got that pace and got that attitude, and the fact that like Van Dijk is a danger and he's unbeaten in 3 runs, so you have to respect him for sure. But I just think River Tiber could turn out to be the better horse, and there's what he's done together with the kind of vibe from Ballydoyle. He seems to be really highly regarded there. So look, he's short enough, but I think he's the most likely winner.
Steve?
Yeah, agree with that. And I thought last time as well, he was sort of ridden like a horse who might not be 100% because he was out the back and just kind of got into it through that. Whereas in the Coventry at Ascot, he was much more prominent on the far side. So I'm expecting him to like the drier conditions. There's no problem with softer ground for River Tiber, but I just think he might turn the tables on Van Dijk, who's unproven on faster ground. But there's no guarantee that Van Dijk won't like the ground. So I think it's a really good race, and I'm looking forward to it. But River Tiber is the way I came down.
All right, and Charlie Poste, out and out against River Tiber, or just the price putting you off?
Just, price related, as in, would it surprise me if River Tiber turns the tables on Van Dijk? Not a bit of it, but I also don't think it's guaranteed. And so for that reason, I came down with another one from the race in France, and Jassur, who was definitely unsuited by the slow ground for me, and was very impressive before that, winning the July Stakes, beating Lake Forest, who turns up again here, who obviously went on and won at York. So I think, as Steve said, I think it's a really good renewal. There's some very, very good horses in here. And yeah, I'm with Jassur more because of the price than anything else. I think they're all high quality horses, but I didn't think there was a whole heap between Van Dijk and River Tiber, and I couldn't make my mind up which way I wanted to go. So I've gone with the one that's 3 times the price.
Fair enough. 3 shots for River Tiber, Jassur, win and place in the Middle Park. We move on to the Cambridgeshire. I'll give you the prices when we get there, although it is worth pointing out that we've got a relative warm order at 5.0, Greek order at the top of the betting, which is, given the nature of this race, quite interesting, but none of us are with that horse. We've got 2 shouts, even for Merlin the Wizard, first of all. I'll kick off there. I thought Merlin the Wizard was one of there's a lot of 3-year-olds in here, but one of those horses that's very much going the right way. I think the track will suit. I thought it was cozy enough last time to merit an £8 rise, and I definitely think the step up to 9 furlongs will suit. He could be the right side, because in recent seasons we've definitely seen middle to high just being. I know it's a small sample size, but being where you want to be. But then again, I do want to back Oviedo, who's drawn 1, which is slightly irritating because I have this preference for near side. But I liked what that horse did at York last time when Astro King changed up the tactics, and he did best of those from off the pace. Likes quick ground. He's a stare at this distance, but that's absolutely fine. And the yard are in great nick. I think he's a really progressive 3-year-old, and he's 15.0. So he one either side for me. 15.0 Oviedo, and Charlie Merlin the Wizard at 21.0.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you with Merlin the Wizard. I mean, as you said, he's won 3 of his last 4 starts, and I thought he was impressive. He had to switch to get his run at Newmarket, but once he did, he picked up really well, and he won a length and a half. But I think he was value for that or more. He was very strong at the line. The extra furlong at the Cambridgeshire will suit him really well, and he's just a progressive horse. You know, a 3-year-old with a very much an upwardly mobile profile. I think the £8 rise is absolutely fine, and you know he has the the capacity and the capability to potentially be a group horse. And you're probably going to need to be that to take this race out, as is shown in plenty of times in the past, you know. So he, for anyone that's watched the race, I mean, he does carry his head a little bit awkward, I felt, but being a son of Camelot, I wouldn't hold that against him, as plenty of them do. But Merlin the Wizard win and place for me.
Yeah, being a son of Camelot now might be time to get him. Not when he's a bit older, anyway, because I'm not sure they necessarily go the right way. Don, who do you like?
Eagles Way. Sir Mark Prescott. Yeah, I think he's interesting. Like, he was really progressive at the end of last season. He won his last 4, and then this year you have to allow him to run at Goodwood, but that was just 4 days after his return, when he was only just beaten in a racing league race. And then last time at Sandown, I thought he did really well because he was up in the van handy in a race in which the hold-up horses came to the fore. Dual Identity, the winner, was a really impressive winner, and you can see why he's been popular. I think he's second favourite now for the Cambridgeshire. But he was ridden more mid-division and quickened up, and he maybe had to go and run well there or win in order to get up in the weights to be sure of a run in the Cambridgeshire. And so he's got £8. Eagles Way meets him on £8 better terms for a 5.5 length beating. I think that's fair enough on its own right, and he's about 3 or 4 or 5 times the price. But more than that, I think Eagles Way can do better because it was a race that wasn't really run to suit the prominent racers. He is a 10 furlong horse, and he's bred for further. His dam won over 10 furlongs and over 1.5 miles. But I think he has pace as well. He likes to go forward. He hasn't run at Newmarket, but I think again his forward going style suits the Cambridgeshire. Well, suits Newmarket and even suits the Cambridgeshire. Even for such a big field handicap, you generally don't want to be too far behind. Also, his drawn stall 24. Remarkably, the last 7 winners of the Cambridgeshire were all drawn in the 20s, all 7. So I agree, Tom. I think you need to be near side. Generally, at this meeting, you need to be near side. And we saw that borne out in the early races today, although the stalls were on the stand side. But I think a high draw is a positive in this race. And yeah, I can see more to come from Eagles Way.
There was the ridiculous meeting a few years ago when I think it was when Jamie Spencer won the Cambridgeshire, but the Middle Park and the Cheveley Park and the Royal Lodge, they basically all made all on the stand side rail and still to stand side. So at least they're in the middle here. Steve.
Yeah, I like what Don's saying about 10 furlong horses. I think you'd rather have a 10 furlong horse than a miler in the Cambridgeshire, personally. And that's what Haunted Dream is. And it's even run well over further, so stays very well. I'd imagine that they'll get on the front end with Haunted Dream, who's trained by Ed Dunlop. He's had a very good season, although his winners for the last month haven't been great. I think that's because a lot of his horses have gone up in the handicap for winning, and Morgan Cole claims 5 off, and claiming riders, like a lot of these big handicaps, got a good record in the Cambridgeshire. So Haunted Dream, who's drawn high, 32 of 35, so is right up against the stand side rail bar a couple of runners, and that's the place to be, and comes into it off the back of good runs, and it is a horse holding his form really well. Although he hasn't won since way back in April on the all-weather, and funnily enough, 4 of his 5 wins have come on the all-weather, but there's no doubt he goes on turf, and has been holding his form really well. Was third in the John Smith's Cup to Pride of America, who's since proved himself in much better races, in like listed races. And Astro King is very reliable, and Haunted Dream was behind Astro King again at York last time, but I think this sort of track, getting on the front end from a decent draw on fast ground, will suit this horse. Just keep rolling away, and Haunted Dream, I think, is overpriced at about 20 points, something or other.
Yeah, 20. Hey,
something like that. 20 something.
26.0. You're away. I think we're done for the domestics, are we? Are we? We haven't got any other Saturdays. Speak now, forever hold your peace. No. Let's move on to Sunday. The feature of the week for many, which is the Qatar Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. This is the 305. This is the only race on the Sunday we've got decks and draw, etc. for. 4.0 for Ace Impact. Ace Impact, the unbeaten French classic winning 3-year-old. 4.0. Continuous. looking to be the first 3-year-old sent out by Aidan O'Brien to win the Arc. Looking to be the first 3-year-old sent out by Aidan O'Brien from 31 to even finish second. He's had a third. 7.0. Hukum is 7.0. Westover is 8.0. Feed the Flame 11.0. 15.0. And bigger the rest. What do we got here? Team Hukum, Donn and Charlie, first of all.
Am I going first? Sorry,
Yeah. The clue there was Charlie first of all.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I was bowing to one of the three wise men to go first, but yeah. Hukum for me. I mean, it's as always, it's a highly interesting race, but I just think Hookam's rock solid. I thought he was very, very good in the King George on his latest start. He beat him Westover. He'll go on slower ground, and he's just battle hardened. And I think he's probably the sort of horse that doesn't really ever quite get the plaudits that he really deserves. As in so yeah, I'd be very strong on Hukum in this. I just think whatever the scenario, I just can't see him not being there or thereabouts. Obviously, he's drawn 14, but again, it's not a huge field, so I don't think that's an insurmountable problem either. So yeah, Hukum for me.
Drawn 14 of 15. Hukum. Donn, is that a worry?
Yeah, it's not ideal. You definitely prefer to be a wee bit further in, but I just think he's got so much else in his favour. As Charlie said, like he's an underrated horse. He's a 6-year-old, which is not statistically, it's not good for the Arc. You have to go back, I think, to the 30s to find the last horse age older than 5 to win an Arc. But like, not many try. The good ones are gone by the time they've seen the Stars had run in the race 3 years after he won it. Would he have won it? Probably. So I wouldn't. And he's an unusual 6-year-old in that he hasn't really, as Charlie said, he hasn't really had the chance to go and prove himself properly earlier in his career. He's had a kind of a staccato type career, but look, he's very, very, very good. We know that. Like he won the Brigadier Gerard on his first run this season when he was weak in the market against Desert Crown, and then he was weak in the market again in the King George. And he there's a little bit of a niggle in the back of your mind that he had a really hard race at Ascot, and himself and Westover, they went to the red zone, both of them, and they pulled well clear. So he just hoped that he's recovered from that. We won't know until the day. But it is, 2.5 months ago now. So, and Owen Burrows, another winner earlier on today, I think he's a very good trainer, and I'm sure that it was, leave him off and get him there, get him fresh for the Arc. Monav's trip, good ground on the fast side of good, ground on the easy side of good, doesn't really matter. It looks like it's going to be somewhere around there, perfect for him. So yeah, and look, I know Westover, he only has a head of a verdict over Westover, and Westover's a much bigger price, and he's a younger horse. But I thought that he was always really going to beat Westover in the King George, and I think there's a good chance that he'll beat him again. So yeah, I think he's got a big chance. All
right, Steve Jones, who do you like in the Arc?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, but I don't think there's any real standouts. Ace Impact, I'd be a bit worried about this horse coming from off the pace and finding a bit of traffic. So I'm going to go and put my faith in Through Seven Seas. And we've seen the Japanese horses go close on a number of occasions. They've not yet won it. But everyone tells me that Equinox is the best horse in the world on ratings. And although we all know ratings don't mean anything when they're handicap ratings, and they certainly don't mean anything when they're worldwide, but Through Seven Seas ran Equinox to a neck way back in June at Hanshin, which is a great track, Hanshin. And the Takarazuka Kinen is a great race because Through Seven Seas finished second in it. And I just think that it's worth a punt. And the other thing I like is Christophe Lemaire. They've gone for a jockey who knows the track really well. So I know it's a bit of a guess, isn't it? But I just don't like. Nothing else excites me in the field too much. The 3-year-olds who this is an interesting stat, I thought. So the last 30 years, 3-year-olds have pretty much dominated the Arc de Triomphe. 18 of the 30 have been 3-year-olds. And although that's not domination, I know. But if you'd have done the stats 5 years ago, it would have been 18 out of 25. So the last 5 winners have not, 3-year-olds haven't won. So I have no idea why, and I don't like stats like that when there is no reason why. But
I think there is.
Go on then.
I think it's very much ground related.
That's interesting. Yeah, you could be right.
I think if you look at Golden Horn won it on good ground, and you've got to be a proper horse. You know, it's not easy to win a classic and then go and win an Arc. Enable, Golden Horn, the last 2 of them. Enables doesn't really count because it was at Chantilly, but it was on soft ground. Trev's was on soft ground. The time indicated it was no worse than that. But I think once you get into heavy ground, 3-year-olds are just massively up against it over 1.5 miles around Longchamp because they're just not as developed. They're just not as... Aidan O'Brien did that fascinating piece earlier on in the year when he talked about his 4-year-olds and how, you know, he'd prefer it if they all raced on because they are so much stronger and so much hardier. So I think that's why I want to back Ace Impact this year, because it's going to be no worse than good to soft. If it was heavy, I wouldn't.
No, yeah, that's interesting. That's twice in the last hour you've come up with something that I found interesting. So clearly being in France has done you the world of good. But maybe you should stay there for a bit.
Yeah, my wife would love that. I'm with Ace Impact. So you're with the Spanish. Oh my God, Spanish! I was doing so well. Why have I said Spanish? Where's that come from? You're with the Japanese filly, Steve.
Yeah, mare through 7 Seas.
Through 7 Seas.
A wild guess, really.
Yeah. So Ace Impact, his form is really hard to work out. How good do you think Al Riffa is, Don? That's one of the keys to it because we haven't seen him. I mean, I was half tempted to back him in the Champion, then it didn't go. How good is he? It's so hard to weigh up Ace Impact's form with anything across the channel.
It's hard to weigh up Al Riffa this year because, like, he was very good last year, and he was all the talk during the winter for all the classics this season. He had that bit of a setback, didn't he, at the start of the season? We didn't see him until July, so he only had 1 run before he went to France. So, and then he missed the Irish Champion Stakes. I actually, even before the Irish Champion Stakes, I had him in mind maybe for the Champion Stakes at Ascot, where the ground might be a wee bit more testing, and that might suit him a wee bit better. But look, I'd say at his best, Al Riffa is very, very, very good. We just don't know how close he was to his best when he ran at Deauville.
So that's it. It's hard to get a relative form line on Ace Impact, but fundamentally, the French have been winning all their races this year. Maybe we've got a better crop of French 3-year-olds this year than we've had in the last few years. Jean-Claude Rousier ended his wait for the Arc a few years ago. Christian Demuro was on board that day with Sotsas. They've won it before. I think he's ideally drawn given his run style because he can pull out and come wide in the straight, which I think ideally what you want to do. And he you know, I'd be worried if the ground was, well, rattling quick for him, but it's not going to be. Also really soft because of the 3-year-old thing, but it's not. So he's a French Classic winner, and he's 4.0. And I couldn't have Continuous a minute. And Hakum and Westover just don't do it for me. And I think Bay Bridge, I love him, but I think he's going to be a Champion Stakes horse, not an Arc horse. So that's where I'm at, really. Anything else to add to the Arc? No? Good. All right. We move on to any other Sunday bets. I don't think we've got any. I don't have any because we just don't know final fields. No? Good. Best bets or any lays? I think we've just got best bets. There are no lays. Shake your head or nod your head if anyone's got a lay. No. Good. This is going well. Bets. Here we go. Right. One in each. Oh, no, we've got... Oh, God. Matchbook Zero long shot first. Matchbook Zero, remember, is from 10 a.m. each day. Win-only bets they are, and you're most likely to get best odds. I've explained why 100 times in the past, but there's zero commission, zero margin. And with an extra exchange, you should be getting best odds anyway. I'm with Merlin the Wizard. Charlie Poste.
Oh.
Merlin the Wizard for you as well.
Yeah.
Don.
Eagles Way.
Steve.
Sacred Angel. GB Park Days.
We've got no lays, so best bets now. Mine is Relief Rally, who I hadn't put in the dot. Sorry, Dan. A relief rally for me in the Cheveley Park. Steve.
River Tiber.
Donn.
Mighty Ulysses in the Group 2 race, the Joel Stakes.
And Charlie Poste.
Capulet for me.
Have yourself a big bad Yankee on one of those. Sounded a bit weird, but do it, because that'll pay really nicely. Steve, it's a pleasure as always.
Thank you, Tommy.
Donn, thank you ever so much. See you soon.
Yes,
Charlie Poste, catch up soon. Great stuff.
Cheers, Tom.
Thanks to everyone at home for listening, for watching. Head to insights.matchbook.com for a recap of all of our best bets, and that applies to all sports. If you're interested this weekend, good Premier League action coming up this weekend. The team are on there previewing it all for you soon enough. Let's hope Tottenham beat Liverpool. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.